Welcome to Patriot Network TV. We have the privilege of being again with General Vallely today on the phone. Today we want to talk about Syria. And the general is in a position that's very unique. He's been in Syria, in country there, 5 times in the last year, talking to the Syrian opposition and so forth as to what's going on there, the effects of our strategy and why it's not working and so forth. So welcome again, General, to being with us today.
Well, thank you, and happy to be back. Well, let me lead off on the Syrian issue by saying that 2 years ago, I got a request through Middle East liaison, Colonel Najjar, that the senior generals that defected from the Assad regime that formed the Free Syrian Army invited me over really on humanitarian basis to assist them in bringing down Assad and providing any advice or any liaison that I could. So we traveled over through Turkey and on the Syrian border. In our first attempt to cross over, we were stopped by the Turks and prevented from going into Syria. But then a little over a year ago, on my third trip over there, we finally were able to liaison with the 8 or 9 generals of the Free Syrian Army and several colonels who were the leaders and provided the leadership team for the Free Syrian Army. That was the true Free Syrian Army, by the way, as I call it.
Okay.
And that time I went in with 400 men into probably the most dangerous city in the world, which was Aleppo, second largest city in Syria. And if you go to YouTube, you can type in Paul Vallely, Syria, and you will see the YouTube videos of inside Syria. Now, since that time, the deputy chief of ISIS over there put a hit out on me last year because I was aiding the Free Syrian Army. And, of course, we put a hit out on him the next day. So
it's only fair.
To put a hit out on somebody, you can count on some of us will put a hit back out on you. But it was a very interesting time. I prepared a report, Colonel Najjar and ourselves, presented it to the Intelligence Committee in Congress, to the CIA, FBI, and that report was that we needed to support the true Free Syrian Army.
Okay.
So from that aspect, they never followed through, and just as recently as a week ago, reports came back to me that we wish we listened to General Vallely and his Syrian opposition liaison group because they were right, and they were correct in their reports that the Free Syrian Army should have been supported to bring down Assad. So now you get the tie-in of Russia supporting Assad, Iran supporting Assad, and now, as a result of the lack of efforts on the United States' part, ISIS grew, and it's in now what we call expanding the caliphate and the Islamic Levant, Levant being a geographical area that goes all the way from Turkey down to Saudi Arabia and the Sinai. That's called the Levant. So now we have the caliphates growing and developing throughout that area of Iraq and Syria. You also see it growing now in Yemen. You also see it in Nigeria and Northern Africa. So as a result of our lack of a strategy and a positive approach by this administration, we find now that the war against radical Islam is continuing to expand. Iran is getting its way about anything they want to do to become the hegemonic power of the Middle East. And you have also Russia thumbing their nose at the United States and getting their way in Ukraine and other areas. So it's a result of having weak leadership in our government. And that's why Admiral Lyons and myself have recommended that the entire national security team of the United States be replaced to include Obama, to include Biden and Valerie Jarrett, who has more influence on Obama than anybody.
Yeah.
And with her Iranian connections, we find that we're trying to appease and trying to come to some agreement with Iran when we know Iran target for their hegemonic power is number one Israel and then number two the United States.
Right. Well, and of course what we're seeing is this continual delay with regards to these supposed negotiations with Iran. I mean, we're approaching a precipice here that's going to just be catastrophic if we don't do something.
Yeah. Well, I think we're in the position of no return right now because Iran, from some of the information I'm receiving, already has a nuclear capability. They have the launch system in the Shahab-3. They have the guidance systems. They have the proven warheads as they've received from North Korea. Every North Korea launch has had Iranian advisors there. So I feel they're on their way. I think Bibi Netanyahu knows this, and Israeli armed forces are ramping up. So there's going to be a number of things that are going to be, again, I call it ramped up over the next 30 days between Israel and Iran and that entire situation. Hezbollah has already attacked. They killed 2 Israelis yesterday as a result of the Israeli attack in southern Syria where they killed an Iranian general.
Right.
And so the Iranian defense minister has already said we will be taking severe actions against Israel. So we can see anything, anytime here.
Well, and is it your sense that the Syrian free rebels are basically, not much of an issue anymore?
Well, no, they're still there. We're still in liaison with them, but nobody's given them any support. They're holding their own, but to some degree in the northern part of Syria. But they would still like to have assistance in that regard. But also there's an initiative with the Peshmerga in Kurdistan that we're supporting, and we hope that they'll be able to get some support. But most of the support going into Iraq right now is going into Baghdad. Very little is going to the Peshmerga up north, which is the most important power, in my opinion, to support up there because of the politics and the Iranian influence on the Baghdad government at this time.
Yes. Well, General, we appreciate again your take on this. You've been boots on the ground, and we appreciate that kind of first eyewitness kind of report for us, and we thank you very much for being with us again today. And we'll be back with you on some of these other subjects because this is going to continue to be a hot topic as we go along. So again, thank you for being with us. This is Hank Giesecke for Patriot Network TV.